Last question. Clark Stokes asked, I have 4 to 5 hours each day to practice. How would you divide this time to get maximum results? Sam said, just do one thing at a time until you totally master it. What's your take? I don't know who Sam is, but that's what he said.
Uh, so I disagree with doing one thing until you totally master it because playing guitar requires multiple skills at the same time. So if you only do one thing at a time, you're not going to be able to play the guitar. You're only going to be able to do one exercise at a time. And you have to be able to put it all together. So I always think about it like this. If you can imagine, if you've ever driven through a parking deck, if you drive into a parking deck has multiple levels, but they also have multiple sections. So if you drive into the parking deck, maybe you go to section A and then section B and then section C and then section D. And by the time you reach section D, then you reach the ramp to go up to the next level in your guitar playing. So if you go to section A, maybe that's working on chords. If you go to section B, maybe that's working on scales. If you go to section C, maybe that's working on dexterity. If you go to section D, maybe that's working on your theory knowledge or how music works. When you put all that together, well, then you can play the guitar at a certain level. Guess what? By the time you go through all those sections, then it's time to go to the next level through all the same sections again. But the point is, if you only stay in one section, you can take the stairs to go to the top of the parking deck, but you will never touch any of the other sections. The whole thing is going to be unbalanced, and you don't want to be unbalanced. To be able to play the guitar and make music and play songs, you have to have some balance in your different skill areas, right? So I wouldn't focus on one thing, period, until you master it. You do want to focus on one area until you make progress and get where you want to go with it, and then go to another area. The other thing, what was the main question again, Brock?
How would you divide 4 to 5 hours? How would you divide the time to get maximum results?
Yeah, so it's impossible to answer that question directly because I don't know what this student is wanting to do exactly, right? In order to know what you have to do or what you should do with 4 to 5 hours of practice time, you would need to define exactly where do you want to go with your guitar playing. What do you want to be able to do? So let's assume somebody wants to be able to play blues like BB King. That's the goal. Okay. So what would I do within that 5 hours of time? Well, for 4 or 5 hours of time, well, just like the parking deck example, I would figure out what are my sections that I need to practice. What are the areas or the buckets that I need to practice in? That might be dexterity. That's definitely going to be one of them. To play blues, I definitely need to practice my technique, like slides and bends and things like that. Definitely need to practice my scales, right, to be able to play and hit the right notes and know where I'm playing on the neck. And probably want to practice some chords as well. And then probably also want to learn a little bit, not much, about the theory side of things as far as giving you the context for what you're trying to play. For example, do you know how to play in the right key? Do you know what chords to play within that key? Do you know what notes to play within that key? If the answer is yes, you can put the theory stuff aside for now and just focus on all the other stuff. The theory is only a support tool. It's not a thing that you must learn to be good at guitar. Okay. But anyway, within that time period, assuming I wanted to play blues and play blues like BB King, well, like I said, I already gave you the different sections that you would need to decide on of things that you need to practice. You need to determine how long can you actually sit down and practice before you need to get up and take a break. Like if I have 4 hours, I'm not just going to sit there for 4 hours. That's not going to be very productive. I might break it up. I might play something for 30 minutes, practice for 30 minutes, and then take a 15-minute break or take a 30-minute break. Or I might play 1 hour in the morning, take a break, play 1 hour at lunchtime, take a break, play 1 hour in the afternoon, take a break, play 1 hour at night, etc. You need to decide how you want to divide up the time. So once you have the sections and you know the sections of different topics that you need to practice on, and then you know how you're going to divide up your time, well, then you need specifically to know what is it that you're going to try to get better at. For example, if I'm in the bucket or the topic of practicing technique, well, what about technique do I want to improve? Do I want to improve my slides? Well, if so, I'm going to practice some slides. But I got to have some kind of exercise that's going to get me better on that. And in order to find that, well, I'm not going to come up with it on my own. I probably need somebody to tell me, well, what's the next step for me? What's the next step after that? What's the next step after that? It's the same reason you have teachers in school. You don't go to first grade and second grade and third grade and figure out what to learn. Somebody tells you what to learn. That's the only way you make it to second grade or third grade or fourth grade or fifth grade or whatever it is. So the point is, in order to decide what you're going to do to progress in a certain amount of practice time, you got to decide, number one, what is your specific goal that you're trying to reach? What different topics or areas do you need to practice in order to get to that goal, to have your skills balanced and well rounded, so to speak? And then how do you want to divide up your time? Do you want to practice with an entire block? Do you want to practice certain intervals during the day? And then when you know those things, specifically within each one of the topic areas, you have to have a specific thing that you're trying to work on. Is it a specific exercise? Is it a specific part of a song? What is it? You have to decide that. And then when you have the answers to all those things, which is there's a lot to decide, right? That's why it's a heck of a lot easier to find somebody who knows what to tell you to do, because it's just a lot easier. Once you have those things, guess what? Then you can sit down and actually practice.
Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. That was just a short clip of one of our longer Q&A videos. If you're interested in watching some more of those videos, then I recommend you hit the subscribe button over here. It's really awesome. Also, we got more videos over here, so check some out if you're interested in learning more about breakthrough guitar or advancing your guitar skills. Peace.